Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Hello, welcome. Hope you enjoyed last week where we had minis every day.
Many a mini.
Many minis. But we're back now, officially, finally. And, we have questions. We have so many questions.
Mm-hmm. And these questions come to us from our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
Yes. And only a few of these are not shipping questions.
My God.
Amazing.
Have people finally run out of shipping questions?
Oh, God, no. They will never run out. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Ian. This is your life now.
Is that a light at the end of the tunnel?
No.
No? Is it an incoming train?
Yes.
No? Is the fog light of another ship?
It's true. Oh, it's so true. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get into this one, starting off with one from Allison S. He said in an old episode that Tangle is probably the only lemur with her abilities. Do you think she had them at birth? Or to phrase it another way, was her accidental property damage greater than that of an average toddler?
Yes, and I don't think that's contingent upon her abilities.
Oh.
I think that's just Tangle being Tangle.
That's just how she is. I mean, yeah.
Although that does raise an interesting question. Do the Sonic series characters come preloaded with their super abilities, or is it something that they learn?
Do they learn it, or does it show up in their later in life?
Because Tails had to learn how to use his tails to propel himself.
Knuckles had to get microwaved first.
Yeah, it's not canon.
Yeah, there's a lot of things we say on this show that aren't canon.
Yeah, well, that's canonically not canon.
Okay.
And but we don't know anybody else. So, did Cream have to learn to fly, or did she always fly?
Her mom taught her.
So I don't know. Although the idea of a toddler with greater amounts of energy than your average toddler, already frightening, with a built-in grapple hook that she can't fully aim or control, absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, that's scary.
Why are all your pieces of furniture covered in plastic? Oh. Okay. You only use paper cups and paper plates. Don't you want any kind of actual? Why is there netting over every single window? Even up the chimney, she ricochets. Okay.
Entire house is just made of mattresses and tires and bumpers.
All right. Our next question is for you, Kyle.
Okay.
This comes from Andrew D. It's time for another timeline question, but this time for Kyle, since Ian can't talk about the timeline. Plus, we all know Kyle knows the real secrets anyway.
Okay.
After all, he did just drop the juicy lore that Sonic Frontiers is the first game in the series. So, Kyle, what are some juicy timeline tidbits? What comes after Frontiers? What causes the characters to de-age into their classic selves? How many split timelines are there? And most importantly, when does Sonic Underground happen?
Well, to answer your question about when everybody de-ages into their classic selves, I don't know. A wizard did it.
There you go. Yeah, classic.
I don't know. It was Naugus. Yes, that's true. Naugus is canon. When did he appear? Yes. Sonic Underground takes place 6 feet underground.
All right.
So there you go. It makes sense, right? Let's see. So Sonic Frontiers is the first game, which means that Sonic Popcorn Shop is the latest game.
Okay.
Sonic Popcorn Shop is canon and is the ultimate culmination of the franchise.
That's where it ends.
In case you're wondering. Yeah, that's the end. Yeah, the Popcorn Shop is the end.
Okay. I'm writing this down.
Waku Waku Sonic Patrol Car was canon. Actually, it still technically is canon, but it's kind of an embarrassing time, so we don't really talk about it. Let's see what else. Nothing is canon, really, honestly, though. If you think about it hard enough, there's no canon. It's all just Blue Hedgehog from top to bottom. It's all Blue Hedgehog. There's no canon. It's all over. Your ships, your favorite ships, they're not canon. They never will be. They're sunk. We sunk them all. Just like Battleship. It's Jover. And yeah, that's it. They're 6 feet underground with Sonic Underground. You're welcome.
Their mother will not be found.
No. And neither will anybody else. Sonic is over. I canceled Sonic. Next question. This one's from Arc Beetle. Can Blaze boil the water around her when she is inside a body of water?
I don't know.
I think she should be able to, because Blaze deserves happiness.
I mean, that's probably the best answer. I'm going to get into the nerdy weeds here.
Okay.
Like, she produces flame of intense heat.
Yeah.
But she creates it around herself. So would that immediately be extinguished by the water, or would she be able to maintain the flame while submerged and produce enough heat consistently to cause it to boil? Or is her immediate locus flame hot enough that it just sublimates the water? You know?
Mm-hmm.
What are the physics of the interdimensional princess cat who is a pyrokinetic? I don't know.
Yeah.
That is a fun question.
I mean, she's very hot, so I'm going to say yes. Here's one from Brain Shark. What?
We've been over this. It's pronounced Brain Shark.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Part 2 of the Diamond Fathers. How would Silver, Sonic, Shadow, Knuckles, and Jet react to being the father of Whisper's daughter?
Silver's blushing. Sonic's surprised. Doesn't even remember them hooking up, but okay, yeah, whatever, cool.
Shock and confusion.
Shadow's like, excellent, the perfect offspring. You'll kill thousands. And Whisper's like, with proper training, yes. Knuckles is like, welcome to the world, little one. Here's your training. This is how you look after the Master Emerald. I'm retired. Bye.
Excellent.
And Jet is shocked and scandalized, as is the rest of the world entirely. How and when and why would this happen? No, absolutely not. It's got to be some kind of Phantom Ruby shenanigans.
Mm-hmm. Sure, why not? We'll go with that. Here's one from Microwave. There were quite a few hints of world building throughout Sonic Boom, but nothing ever really got expanded or fleshed out. If Sega gave you the okay, would you have tried to expand on that, and how?
I would like to, yes. Me expand on lore.
It's like they don't even know you.
It's like candy to me.
I know.
Sweet and delicious.
It's like it's your thing.
Now cram it into a story somewhere? No, just let me write my own Cimmerillion of Sonic Boom.
Yes.
But how?
I mean, part of the fun of Sonic Boom is that it is not a precise world, you know.
Sure. And I would argue that the TV series, which was not very lore or continuity heavy, was the strongest aspect of that spinoff.
Yes.
But I was intrigued by what little they offered in the game stuff. And if I had the opportunity to explore it, I would want to take it in a wholly different direction than modern Sonic.
Oh, yeah.
Like, let Sonic Boom be its own thing, its own history, its own mysteries, all of that stuff. Draw a few parallels here and there, sure. Everyone loves the crossover element, but there doesn't need to be any kind of master gemstone. We don't necessarily need Angel Island, even if it did get referenced briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Knuckles doesn't need to be the only echidna. Go nuts with it. Nothing should be sacred. Have fun with it.
That's the great thing about Boom. Nothing is sacred. Question from KB. Bean, Daffy, and Woody finally put their pineapple on pizza differences aside and become best friends. What kind of wacky shenanigans do the 3 wacky birds get themselves into, and how doomed are we?
Super doomed.
Oh, yeah.
Because they'll primarily focus on those who oppose them. whether it's directly or they perceive that they're being opposed, it doesn't really matter. They're still going to heckle them and cause all manner of deviltry. The rest of us who just want to keep our heads down and not get caught in the crossfire are still going to be antagonized anyway, whether that's a stray bomb from Bean or the marble rolls to the other side for Daffy and he decides he's painting mustaches on everyone. There's no avoiding it, really. So
yeah.
This is how the world ends, with a bang and a whimper and a and all sorts of noises.
And and Chaos Sonic 1 has a question. If Sega wants to make a Tails tube interviewing Metal Sonic, how would you explain Metal Sonic talking?
Tails sings some Bluetooth speakers to him.
There you go. Tails repairs his voice module temporarily. It works for the duration of Tails tube, and that's it.
Tails upgrades him to Neo Metal just so he can talk.
Oh, no. Tails, no.
Don't worry, he installed an egg timer. It turned it back to normal Metal Sonic. It's fine. It's going to be fine.
Either that or Metal makes a bunch of beep boop noises, and Tails can fully understand him. We can't. It just sounds like a bunch of beep boops, but you know.
Give him the R2D2 treatment. I like that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that too. Yeah, Tails can understand him. So Tails is basically repeating everything. Yeah. All right, Comic the Hedgehog has a question. It's currently State Fair season, and I love it. Someday I hope to win one of those giant Sonic or Shadow plushies. Anyway, have either of you ever been to a state or county fair? If so, what was the best part? The best fair food. Does Canada have a state fair equivalent? Oh yeah, they do. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's actually just wrapped up as of this episode's airing, but the International Expo,
yes,
takes up a huge swath of the Francis Gates facility. And it's massive. There's an entire food building. There's a building devoted to agricultural stuff with the annual butter carving competitions. And the folks make some pretty impressive sculptures out of butter. I'll tell you what. There's a arts and crafts general sales building. Every now and again, I get tempted to rent out a kiosk and maybe sell some books there. And it's like, with what money and with what product? It's like, well, that would also be like an entire month of working a show. And that's exhausting just thinking about it.
Yeah.
There's rides, there's carny games, there's an entire other building I forgot where they do like ice skate shows and home appliances and clothing and candy and animal shows, like Super Dogs, Super Cats. For the longest time, they had this one local celebrity who just stacks rocks real good. They are balanced on the single atoms between the rocks. They look like they should topple over, but they stand. One year they had giant sand sculptures, and there's food kiosks all over the bloody place. Get your freshly fried grilled corn. And what was the stupid food this year? Deep fried pickle Oreo combos, which, gross. No, thank you.
Little bit, but
I think last year was the rainbow grilled cheese. So the cheese was rainbow colored. A few years ago, there was the cheeseburger between two grilled cheese sandwiches. That hurt. Oh, that hurt. I did it. To say I did it. I ain't going to do it again.
Not going to do it again.
Oh, Kyle, I'm pretty sure I could feel the heart attack 10 years from now. It's
worth it.
But debatable, but and all sorts of stuff all over the place. It's a grand old time.
Yep.
I did go to a North Carolina state fair many, many years ago, and the two things I remember from that are the angry looking guy in the Klan jacket and the world's largest rat, which was a dog that had been shaved. And I didn't enjoy that one nearly as much as the X, to be perfectly honest.
That's this is a that's a Carolina special, sounds like. Ooh. Ooh.
No, excuse me. It was the elephant dog that was shaved. The world's largest rodent was a capybara that was in like an ice cream locker.
Oh.
Not no bueno. No bueno.
No. I mean, at least our giant pig was just a giant pig. Oh, man. Yeah, I have good memories of the fair, the Arizona State Fair specifically, which is supposed to be starting up here, actually, later this month. So now that it's finally, almost going to start getting reasonably temperatured outside. Eventually, but we're not quite there yet. But, by the end of September, we should be closer. So, but I always loved the fair. Our big thing was always the figure eight racing, the dirt track racing. My dad and friends would, put together cars and go out there and, ram into each other or not, or try not to. Someone sometimes try not to, sometimes intentionally do. So yeah, that's always a good time, and that's what I always remember. That's like we always had a bit of a rivalry with the local big name guys who go out there once a year and just sort of usually dominate. And then one year we kind of went as all out as we could to try and go up against them, and we got pretty close. We got pretty far. But we blew up a few cars trying to catch them. It was not. It was fun, but man, it was scary, expensive. But it was worth it. It was fun. It was a good time.
I forgot another great thing about the X. There's an entire field next to the amphitheater with live music and at least 5 kiosks of the regional best barbecue being prepared right there. The lines go on forever, and that's for a good reason.
Yeah. I mean, we always have great food at ours. Ours is like the of course, we have a lot of Mexican food here, so there's like tons of food trucks and stuff that are serving up that. We got barbecue out the wazoo. It's great. It will kill you, but it's great. I love the fair. All right, Dawson the Dachshund has a question. Amy has mellowed out lately. Good for her. However, habits don't go easily, and I can't imagine she doesn't still occasionally feel the urge to get mad and hit something with her hammer, even if it's undeserved. So what does Amy do to cope with the primal urge to bonk?
Well, if something deserves a bonking, it's going to get bonked.
Yeah.
Picoed, you know what I mean. But if it's a matter of, Knuckles has committed yet another faux pas, she's just going to, rein it in and, maybe work out the digression later in boxercising. Just, save that energy for something constructive later.
Okay, fine. DDR Master M has a question. It's time for the Sonic Princesses to sing their I Want songs. What would Sally, Blaze, Elise, and Tangle sing about theirs?
Sally's would be a initially comical but then ultimately tragic one about how she wants for nothing because she has everything that she ever really needs in life while highlighting all the problems that she actually has to deal with. But it's fine because she doesn't want to complain.
Yep.
And Blaze is a somewhat personally chastising song about wanting to see more of the world and be with her friends more often, but she has a duty to perform, and so she's not going abroad, and how she is torn between her desires of duty and friendship and blah, blah, blah. Tangle is, I don't know, the happy opening song. I want an ice cream. I want a grilled cheese. Just,
Tangle's got nothing, huh? She's good.
And the one thing she wants most of all is to share it with her friends.
Okay.
And Lisa's is I am slowly going crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 switch. Crazy going slowly. Am I 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 switch. Always smiling, always smiling. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 switch. Crazy going smiling. Always 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Plus.
No. No. Funny, but All right, here's Dom KQ95 with a question. The entire gang, including Sonic, have fallen ill, and the only cure is in a far-off land. Fortunately, Lanolin and Styx are okay and must team up to save the day. How would this team up go?
Functional, but hilarious.
I think once Lanolin figures out Styx's thing, she might be able to handle it.
I think Styx's unending paranoia is just going to drive Lanolin up the wall because it's not factually based on anything.
It would be, yes. But once she figures out how she can steer the madness.
Maybe. I think what endears her more is that while she already has a clear map to the far off lands, Styx knows it like the back of her hand and actually knows the routes off map that are faster or safer, or an updated route that isn't on the map. Because, it's physical media. It can't be updated regularly. And so, she knows where to go. She knows where to find the potable water. She knows where the best places to forage are along the way. She knows where to get shelter. And Lanolin's like, oh my goodness, you took all the guesswork out of this. All right, here we go. And Styx is like, and don't step over there. Why? Poison ivy? No, that's where I set the traps for Bigfoot. Right. Okay.
Well, you got to catch Bigfoot. What's the problem? I don't get it. Why is Lanolin so annoyed about this?
And then Lanolin's really surprised when there's a small snare trap that's captured that gun mecha. Styx is like, what? You thought I meant a Sasquatch? No, they're cool. They're people of the forest. We get along great.
There you go. Yeah. See? Yeah. Oh, just is waiting for the time where Styx calls Lanolin a sheep. Think about that one for a little bit. Geo Knuckles has a question. How would Sonic, Knuckles, Shadow, Silver, and SBO react to Minerva Mink?
I think I might need to give context to this because it's been a long time and she wasn't part of the revival. No, yeah. Oh, man, I feel the gray hairs coming in. All right, so for the uninitiated, there was a cartoon series called Animaniacs that was basically sketch comedy with a number of animal characters. Mm-hmm. There is more recent stuff on Hulu. I'm sure some of you have seen it. You at least know of it. Please, children.
She made a cameo. She made a quick cameo in the revival, at least.
All right. But one of the lesser recurring bits was a character named Minerva Mink, and the entire shtick was she was sexy.
Yes.
And people ogled her. That's the joke.
Yes.
So with the characters listed, Sonic's going to be cool. Knuckles is going to be flustered because he doesn't know how to handle any kind of relationship or emotion beyond punch. Shadow, he's going to be cool and indifferent. Silver, maybe he can be a flustered little boy. Then go for the funny. And SBO, let's go for the visual gag. He's totally cool. He's not flustered at all. In fact, he's going to turn invisible now to show how unflustered he is. And yet the blushing is still there. Mm-hmm. Ha 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 ha. There you go.
Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Good night, everybody.
Well, don't go too far. We're going to be right back with more BumbleKast.
Oh, okay, fine.
We have an ad here from Chaos Sonic 1. This is time to help a friend of mine, Una Florin, and her husband, H/. Una Florin's tumor has returned and she needs help getting rid of it. Any donations and commission help for the operation would be wonderful. You can help support her by going to her Ko-fi, that's ko-fi.com/FlorinRosie, or support her via adopting her art, they look cute, or you can also help them by asking her husband for commissions. He's at Hyro_/ at Twitter, and while they have already collected the amount needed, it never hurts to have a little extra just in case of more fun surprises. Thank you from Chaos Sonic 1, and from those of us here at the BumbleKast. You can find links down in the description of the episode. we're back, and we're starting off with our free giveaway question. Follow us on our Twitter, Blue Sky, Tumblr, and or Facebook for your chance to have your question answered here on the show. This week's winner is...
Sockman from Blue Sky. What do you think Infinite's relationship with the Jackal Squad was? Do you think he cared that Shadow killed him?
From what I remember getting in the notes, he didn't really care for them in any kind of camaraderie sort of way. It's just they were his unit. They followed him. As that the extent of the social contract. Shadow taking them out was more a personal insult to him. You took his stuff. You made him look weak by taking out his dudes.
My dudes.
But I don't think it keeps him up at night. Once Shadow humbled him, it was all about him, you know?
Yeah. My dudes. Took away his dudes.
Now, Jackal Squad was 100% loyal to him, but he didn't particularly care for any of them in return.
Oh, he was
a bad man.
He's a great guy. What a nice dude. Man. All right, here's one from Gideon W. In the July 29th episode, you confirmed in Bumble lore that not only is Shadow a brony, but his game's swirly icon is his OC cutie mark. This left me wondering something. With how edgy he is, does Shadow have his cutie mark tattooed somewhere hidden under all that fur? And potentially, where?
Dead center of his chest. That white floof is a toupee.
He's covering it up.
He only shows it to the true bronies around him.
Yes. You must be the truest brony to be aware of that information. Shadow is the ultimate brony.
He peels off that torso toupee and it sounds like Velcro.
Ow. Question from Hearts 13. Apparently in 1994, there were a few volumes of a French Sonic Adventures graphic novel series, and these were its partial basis. The American Bible for Sonic 1, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, and Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. If this comic was adapted into a 90s French animated TV series, what would it be like, and would Long John Baldry's Dr. Robotnik sound interesting with a French accent?
Yeah, it would. Qu'est-ce que c'est? That would be a weird cartoon. Because
Adventures of was already pretty weird on its own.
Yeah, and then you add in the French animation style of the 90s on top of that.
Yeah.
Which I don't think there were... Now, this is my ignorance. I don't know how big the European in general animation industry was in the 90s, but I don't think it was it wasn't anything stylistically like it is today, which takes many more cues from, popular anime. Although there are more, Europeans. I'm just throwing out terms here without sounding like I know anything of what I'm talking about. You know what I mean when I'm talking about European animation, where the line weights are not always solid and it can be very interpretive and the stories can kind of meander and it's very artistic and expressive and experimental and he doesn't always be easy to follow. But
yeah,
I'm imagining that applied to the cartoon logic of Adventures of, with story elements out of the old SOA Bible and Sonic 3. What a weird show. That would be fascinating to watch. Probably mildly uncomfortable in parts too, because what in the world?
A little weird, yeah. Kind
of want to hop over to that timeline. I want to know what that looked like. Just imagine the cheap English dub. Ooh, it'd be atrocious. Censoring out all the stuff that they don't allow in America. Not even remotely lip sync. They don't even do the full season. Oh, it'd be a train wreck.
Oh boy. People
championing the lost media. No, it was the best Sonic cartoon. You just never got to see it outside of Channel 2 in France.
Sonic in a beret going, "Le fast." Oh boy. All right, Major Bunny has a question. You're given the option to revive only one retro Shogakukan Sonic manga character to make them relevant again in both comics and games. And you can alter their backstories and abilities as you please. Who do you choose?
Anton Veruca, no question.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely. Give Sonic a fun, low-level rival that just has a personal beef with him.
Another one? He collects them like candy.
Yeah, keep it classic era. We don't have
Okay.
a giant cast classic era, and Anton is very decidedly classic era.
Okay.
Don't take him like super seriously. Have him be a fun antagonist. Not setting things in motion like Eggman does necessarily, but still causing trouble.
Yeah.
Now, I'd like to bring back the entire Veruca family because that's basically built-in Koopalings for Sonic. You could get a lot of mileage out of that. But if we're just doing one, go with Anton.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I mean, of all the characters. And we got a question from Mankoy. While reading through the old Archie comics, I found some Portal references you sneaked in there. So, let's say after Shell arrives and makes it to the surface, she finds out GLaDOS was right. Things really have changed since she last left the building. While she was in suspended animation, the Gene Bomb went off and the Mobians evolved. Now Shell, the five-fingered Overlander, finds herself at the border of New Mobotropolis. What happens next?
Goodness. Does she still have the portal gun? No, she had to surrender it, didn't she?
At the end of Portal 1? I guess
no, into Portal 2.
Oh,
into Portal 1,
Portal
she gets
2.
dragged back underground.
That's right, yeah, okay.
And it's Portal 2 where GLaDOS decides it's too hard to kill you. Get out.
Mm-hmm. She has the cube in Portal 2, though.
Yeah.
I
guess Shell and her cube companion go and make new friends in New Mobotropolis.
Well, there you go.
I mean, maybe there's some animosity because there's a bit of tension with the Overlanders and whatnot, but she seems like a personable enough individual, even though she doesn't speak. And that companion cube is just so darn endearing and wins everybody over.
Yep. All right. Many Hats has a question. Is Shadow a hedgehog mixed with Black Arm's DNA or a purely Black Arm spawn shaped like a hedgehog?
We don't know definitively what he is, but I don't think he's 100% Black Arms.
Interesting. Matt of the Call has a question. When a crybaby wants to be left alone, yet constantly insults others, and in turn the community still goes harder after him, what should the crybaby do to actually be left alone?
Go offline.
Shut up. Yeah, that's
this
it.
This is general guidelines for anybody engaging online. If you are in a hostile environment, whether you recognize that you are the instigator or not, go offline. You do not have to engage with people online. There are many ways to start communities online. You can find your own audience. You can find your own group of folks that you jive with. But if you are in a place that you are not happy, go offline. There are so many other social situations that are much harder to disengage with, much more complicated to disengage with. I understand that, and I do not have a good answer for some of those. But with the internet, with your Discord or your other chat rooms or whatever, just go offline. If you're not having a good time, disconnect.
Do not engage. Listen to the advice and go out and touch grass. For real. Do that. But then, of course, come back and listen to the BumbleKast. I mean. And we got one from Michael the Chow. What is your theory / explanation on how Tails created the fake Chaos Emerald in Sonic Adventure 2? I have a hard time believing he was able to make a fake emerald since even as of now, we still don't know how the original emeralds were made. I apologize if this is a question you can't comment on.
A very high-end 3D printer.
Apparently the fake Chaos Emerald, it was fake, so it didn't work, right? It didn't actually function as a Chaos Emerald. It kind of did, but it
had the same wavelength and properties, just not the power.
Yeah. I think people get hung up on that. They think it is actually a legit Chaos Emerald. It's like, no, the game even says it doesn't quite match.
No, it's within the realms of the pseudo-science sci-fi of Sonic. He was able to recreate the, crystalline matrix that is a Chaos Emerald.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow it has the same wavelength and properties. That's the descriptor I'm hanging my hat on. But you're not going to be able to, go super off at any time. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like nightlight power.
Yeah, apparently it could give you the ability to do chaos control. with
Yeah,
it,
but
but
that's
that's
Sonic,
about
and
it.
Sonic's a special boy. He's got protagonist powers.
Well,
That's more of
yeah.
a question of that. That's not a fake Emerald question. That's a Sonic question.
Yeah. All right, this one is from Mel Mellon. On the podcast, you've previously given names to stretches of the book to categorize them under sagas, which, even if not official or set in stone, is something I really appreciate. We have Revenge of Neo Metal for 1 through 12, Metal Virus for 13 through 32, and Eggman's Legacy for 33 through 56. My question is, what would you personally nominate as the unofficial names for the current saga, 57 to 75?
Well, 57 to 61 is Urban Warfare. That's the name of that story arc.
Mm-hmm.
The stories in 62 to 68 are kind of collectively known as misadventures. I think that's what the trade's called even. And then I asked Evan this because I wasn't 100% sure, but 69 to 75 is the Phantom Rider arc.
Aha. All right. This one's from Mixer17. How do you think Sonic would handle it if he had a kid that turned out to be genuinely evil? The pairing itself doesn't have to be anyone specific, but the kid has to be evil even by the mother's standards. So you can't say a Saw-Nerge kid commits assault and arson, because that's just every Saw-Nerge kid. Let's be real.
I guess he would continue to try to steer the kid right while also fighting him.
Oh, so it's freaking Kylo Ren.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Sonic stops Junior from setting off the Doomsday Bomb and then just kind of shakes his head. I raised you better than this. You didn't raise me at all. Yeah, that's fair enough. But look, I got a legacy, kid. You could have followed that. I want to step out of your shadow. Shadow isn't even here, man.
It's not the first time Sonic's been stabbed in the chest, to be fair, so he'll be fine. He'll be fine. And finally, our last question for this episode is from Nanemiyun. I always thought the random English that Japanese Sonic would speak was really iconic to the character, so it's a shame the same can't be replicated in English. But what if it was? How would it work? Would Sonic burst out into random Japanese phrases you'd pick up from an anime? Or maybe Spanish would work better since it's a more accessible language? I'm curious for your opinion on this, and maybe some fun examples of dialogue you'd write for Sonic in such a case.
This is a trickier question than it appears.
Yeah.
From my understanding, it's not so much a language thing as it is a cultural thing. Within Japanese media, from my understanding, using English phrases or loan words is a cool thing to do. It's part of the culture. It shows Sonic is hip and with it and, less antiquated terms. I'm an old man. What do you want? It just adds to his cool factor. That's just how he does it. American English doesn't have that same cultural parallel. And there's a much larger discussion to be had about that, and I do not feel qualified to do that, especially on this show. But I feel like Sonic lapsing into other phrases or using words or expressions from other languages would land very differently with the English version, where in Japanese it's kind of quirky and cool. In English, it might come across as appropriation, which is just weird and dumb. That's not the intention. But I don't know. I just don't think it would work the same because it's coming from very different foundations.
Yeah. And it's also just, I don't know, it's not really a thing unless a character is built specifically to be like they're like mixed heritage, mixed race person or whatever. And feels like Sonic would not be that. It would definitely feel like he's just kind of doing it just to do it, which would be odd.
Ideally, naively, I think all language, all expression should be accessible to all peoples. There are certain languages and cultures that have expressions that are unique to them, that perfectly encapsulate an idea that just doesn't exist in another language. Give me the English word for Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
You can't, because Schadenfreude covers it. It's such a great word. But
yeah,
I also know that there is a lot of baggage that comes with that, and a much more consideration and empathy needs to be taken with that kind of word choice. So
Right.
ideally, sure, Sonic should be able to spout anything that makes sense for the moment. But in terms of just throwing out loan words, I think it really comes down to the cultural divide. And that's just an interesting aspect of language and culture around the world across the ages.
Yeah. We're not really built for this sociology discussion. This is
or
not the
etymology or
This is not the venue for this. Sir, this is a Sonic the Hedgehog podcast.
This is a fantastic topic, and someone who is far more versed in it could probably make a great video essay out of it. I am not that person.
Yeah.
I can just kind of point you in the right direction and say, here, you should find someone who knows what they're talking about, because I know just enough to know that I am not qualified for it.
Yes.
That English degree is kind of old.
And I mean, it's English. You only know the one language.
Yeah, my grasp of the English language is more like a wave goodbye. Speaking of waving goodbye, we're done with the show. So we're waving goodbye to all y'all. Thank you for coming in, for listening to us, for supporting us through our Patreon at patreon.com/BumbleKast, or our Ko-fi at kofi.com/BumbleKast, or for being a YouTube member. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
Thanks for listening, everybody. See you next time.
You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org.
All right, we're back. And we got this one here from Gideon W. Oh, I forgot to put a giveaway. Shit.
What up, 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 up.
I knew I forgot something. Damn it.
Please hold while Kyle finds the thing.
I just realized. This literally, because it's like, oh, the word giveaway is there, and there's no giveaway questions. Like, well, shit. Give me a moment. You can tell it's been a week, and this whole operation is now falling apart, even more than usual.